The butterfly. Young Ben, with net and jar, would run a mile to catch a brand new butterfly to add to his collection. Neighbors thought him mad. Hobbies like his are not New Brunswick style. One day, when Ben came back from useless chase, his feeble-minded aunt who'd watched him run gave him, bursting with pride for what she'd done, a bag of crumpled paper tied with lace. Impatiently he tore away the string and found a common cabbage butterfly too spent to move her up and tattered wing. He crushed it in his hand. In quick disdain, too late, he saw a winged thing in pain die in the round jar of her clouded eye.
I find that poem a very powerful poem, partly because I think young Ben was young Fred, and that was his aged aunt who I never knew. But as a child, my father also was well known for catching butterflies, and he would have this big net and two little girls running behind him, and one carried the bottle of morphine, and the other one carried the bottle to catch butterflies because he killed butterflies with this. And I remember as a child, I mean, this, I'm sure we appeared to be quite odd in the community because he would be running around with these two little girls behind him catching the butterflies. But I remember when I must have been 5 or 6, and I was coming home from school, and I saw this butterfly coming out of a cocoon on the ground. And I put it in my hand, and I brought it home for my father. And my father was away probably at the League of Canadian Poets or something like that. And my mom said, okay, I'll put it in the jar, because the jar with the morphine was up on top of the fridge. So she put it in the jar. And when he came home, she said, oh, Kathleen found you this moth butterfly. And I don't know if you know, but there's one of the largest moths in Canada is about this big. And my father had been hunting for it since he was a child, and he would have been in his 30s, 40s then. And wasn't it that? And I had caught it for him. So it was really an interesting story when you think about that whole poem. It's so significant. So I think this is the last piece. And this one, he speaks a little bit about himself as a writer. He was very self-effacing of himself as a writer. He published fiddlehead poetry for many, many years. And he started Fiddlehead Books, which became Goose Lane. And Goose Lane is still the major independent publisher in Canada. But it started out as Fiddlehead Books, and he published over 307 titles in the period of time, most of which were produced in the basement of our home. I spent my childhood licking envelopes and putting stamps on the books, and grew up in a house of poetry where this was the industry. Poetry was the industry in our home. Didn't earn any money, but it was the industry in our home. And it was when my father was retired and my mom had died when he was about my age. And then he married 2 more times before he died. And when his 3rd wife died, he was about 84. And he wasn't able to really live on his own, so he chose to come here to British Columbia, and he and I drove across Canada in a 3-ton truck with 10,000 books. And we came to live here, and eventually here in New Westminster. And he lived here when he died. And I said to him, what do you want to do? He did that because I was his only child left. And I had a son and I had a grandson. So those were his immediate family. So he said, I'd rather be with you. And so he left his home of all those years and came here. And it's interesting because they say about people when they're older, about moving. I brought the dishes and the cups and saucers that had been in the home all his life, his adult life, so he would have them to use, so he wouldn't feel too disoriented. But he loved it. He said, all I want to do is watch baseball and write poems. So in the period of time that he lived here with me, he published 4 books of poetry, and he and I wrote a book together as well. That was in like a 2 or 3 year period. So he was extremely prolific and actually published over 45 books of his own in his own